Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Happy New Year, if it's not too late to say that to everyone. This is our New Year meditation retreat. After all, I'm Beth Korchinski. I'm a Tergar staff member, and I'm your host for our program today. We're so delighted that you're here with us. Um, Today's retreat has about 1,300 people registered from more than 50 countries, and it's being offered in 7 languages. Over 30 Tergar staff and volunteers have been involved in delivering this weekend's event, and we're just so delighted that so many of you are able to join us. So if you're on Zoom, joining us on Zoom, there are some Zoom features you might need to be reminded about. There's if you're on Zoom because of language interpretation, most likely, and you can select your language using the interpretation button, which is usually at the bottom of your screen. In Zoom, the chat is going to be open at the beginning, like now. So thanks for checking in and saying hi and telling us where you're from. We'll open it up at the end of the program as well. And if you're on YouTube, that's English only. And as usual, the YouTube chat will be open throughout. On Zoom, we've got a Q&A button that you could use only to submit technical questions. We're not going to be taking any practice questions today. So if you're just having trouble hearing or something's not working right, let us know through the Q&A button in Zoom. If you're on YouTube, you'll just have to post it in the chat, and we have someone monitoring to pick those things up. So as I mentioned, we're not really having any practice questions during this event. But if you're experiencing some emotional difficulties as a result of the practices, please feel free to email us at retreatsupport@tergar.org. So all as one word, retreatsupport@tergar.org, and someone would be able to connect with you. So we're going to do a single poll question. It's only going to show up, I think, for the people on Zoom. So if you're on YouTube, just take a deep breath. And so we'll have a poll about language. So if we can get our poll up. So what language are you listening in today? And all the languages that we have interpretation for are listed there. And answering this question really helps us for planning our events. So we do appreciate you taking the time to fill out the poll. Looks like we have over 80% of the people responded. So thank you so much. And yeah, we have people in every language who are listening in today on our poll, on our event. So thank you so much for joining. And thank you to our interpreters who are helping to make that possible. So just to recap our format for today's event, we're all joining together in a single room. There won't be any breakouts or multiple sessions. And we're here for a retreat with our Tergar guides. Today we'll be hearing from Tim Olmsted, Veronica Bila, Jess McNally, Fanula Daffy, Jem Board, Franca Cordova von Specht, and Robin Harris. So we've got quite a nice crew for you today. It's a 3-hour retreat, and we feature 3 main sections. If you've been around Tergar for a while, you might be able to guess them: awareness, love and compassion, and wisdom. And each section will include a short introduction and 2 15-minute practice sessions. There will be 2 10-minute breaks in between the main sections and stretch breaks during the practice sessions. So we'll make sure that you're not getting all stiff in your seat over 3 hours. The recordings of the whole event will be available on YouTube in English language only. So that's all the housekeeping. I would like to welcome our Tergar instructor, Tim Olmsted, to say a little bit more about the program. Hi, Tim.
Great. Thank you, Beth. And thanks everybody for coming together like this today. It is said, the Buddha said, well, you never really know what the Buddha said, but Mingyur Rinpoche confirmed that this was his understanding. That the Buddha said that when we get together and meditate together, that the depth and the strength of our meditation increases proportionately. So this is one of the reasons it's so great to be together and practice together. So I've been asked to just make some highlights about a few of the topics that we'll be touching on today. The first being aspiration, and then awareness, loving kindness, and wisdom, of course. So aspiration is an incredibly important point, and it's a lovely topic. No one talks about this better than Mingyur Rinpoche. In short, we all come to the path because we want to find something. Every one of us has a completely unique reason, and none of us are the same. Whichever brings us to the path, or whether brings us to the cushion, however we think about it, this is the perfect beginning. And it's unique to each person. Some of us just want to work with our depression and anxiety. Some of us want to have a meaningful life. Some of us just want to be less lonely and more connected with others. Some of us want to be like someone who we've met. Whatever brings us to the cushion is the best beginning. Because a good path, a good aspiration, when we're clear about why we're doing it, it lifts us up. It energizes us. It wakes us up. When we're clear about our aspiration, the rest comes completely naturally. I live in a ski town in Colorado. It's snowing outside as I speak. And we are a training center for young people who are training for the Olympics in that ski jumping that you see. It's pretty crazy. The ski is so big in my community, in our little town, that I often fantasize that if someone really nails it, they're going to land on Main Street because it's right off Main Street. They come from around the world and they train morning, noon, and night. They have special school hours so that they can train. They train in the summer, they train in the winter, and they're absolutely delighted. You can see them going through town in the summer on these weird little skis that have wheels on them, and they're beaming and completely happy. They know what they want to do. And they're competing for 3 spots every 4 years. This is the power of aspiration. Aspiration is like the wind in our sails. It gives everything meaning and energy. It's like having a North Star. We know where we're going. We know where we want to go. But how do we pull this off? I would suggest that we have perhaps 2 aspirations within us. One is a vast aspiration, the kind of on the horizon aspiration, again, the North Star that we'll work towards for the rest of our life. In our tradition, we have many ways of understanding this. We have the aspirations of the 4 boundless attitudes of love, compassion, joy, and equanimity. We have the aspirations of the bodhisattva to awaken so that we can benefit all beings. Whatever is profound and vast, this is the sort of holding aspiration. Then within that, I encourage us to be clear again about something that lifts us up today, that lifts us up just today. Like maybe I aspire in the short term to be less lazy, to be less grumpy, to be less opinionated, whatever it might be. There's a lovely example, perhaps it's a medieval British example, that someone was walking along the path in the woods, and they came across someone with a sledgehammer in their hand, and they were wailing away. They were pounding this huge rock and sweating and swearing. And the person said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Oh, I'm building a building brick. I'm making a building block." Okay. And he walked further down the path and came across another person that was with a hammer and beating on the rock, and he was beaming and smiling. And the person said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "I'm building a cathedral." So this is how aspiration can so deeply affect us. I've been asked to give a personal example from my life, and I can tell you one thing that changed my life, actually. It changed my approach to my meditation, talking about aspiration. So one time I went to Mingyur Rinpoche's father, Tokujin, and I was complaining bitterly about my practice. I couldn't do this and I couldn't do that. And at the rate I'm going, I'll never get enlightened, and on and on. And I got quite upset, and he stopped me, which was unusual. He was very gentle, but he stopped me and he said, please understand that just taking 7 steps towards your cushion with the aspiration to tame your mind and open your heart for the benefit of yourself and others, that makes this life meaningful. And then he said, just get on the cushion and do your method and leave it. So this is just going to the cushion with this aspiration to somehow work with our heart and mind so that we can be beneficial to someone. This, thanks to Tokujin, has been a driving aspiration for me. So I hope that's a little bit helpful. And I'd like to invite Veronica and Jem.
Thanks so much, Tim. Before we do that, we'd like to actually review our New Year's greeting recording from Mingyur Rinpoche. So if it's okay, we'd like to maybe start with that. So if we could get that set up.
Happy New Year for 2025. And this New Year, I wish all of you to be healthy, happy, and also to discover your basic goodness within ourselves. So we all have this wonderful quality, awareness, love and compassion, wisdom within us, not just within us, around us. Your family members, your friends, your co-workers, actually everybody on this planet, all beings has this wonderful nature. So wish that we all recognize this quality within ourselves and see that others. So I wish this coming new year more peaceful and benefit each other, and the world become peaceful, environment become balanced. And I like to also address 2 things. One is now the problem is the climate change. So the environment is really
Well, it looks like we're having some technical difficulties with that video. We can put the link to that video in the chat so that people can check it, I guess, later or watch it later if they haven't seen it already. Not sure if there was someone who wanted to step in and maybe summarize some of what Rinpoche said, or if we should just go to the opening aspirations for our practice. Well, let's keep things moving along. Oh, Tim, you're going to make a couple comments here?
No, Beth, I was just going to suggest that we go on to the opening aspiration.
Okay. All right. Yeah, no point in fighting technology, am I right? Let's go ahead and get the slide up for our opening aspiration, as Tim discussed so beautifully. And then, Tim, do you want to read that for us?
Sure. With boundless compassion and wisdom, I will work for the welfare of all. May we be free from hunger and discord, and have joy and a world at peace.
Thanks so much. And I think we're going to launch into the awareness section now. So I'm not sure if Tim, you were going to say something about that and then introduce Veronica, or if Veronica's ready to jump in.
I'm ready to go. So, as Beth said, I've been asked to make a few comments about awareness. And awareness is an enormous topic and very beautiful. And as everybody knows, it's the hallmark, it's the golden thread of everything that Mingyur Rinpoche teaches. He's taken the entire tradition of study and meditation and distilled it into his teachings on just this, awareness. So again, it's odd for me to comment on it because I know that all of you have studied a lot and understand this point, but I'll give it a little bit of a different wrinkle and somehow include it with the loving kindness and compassion piece. So I think that we all know that we all intuit that there is a way of being that has less grief, more ease, and it's more connected and open than we feel now. This is common to all of us. This is true of all of us. This isn't a mistake. Longing and imagining such a way of being isn't a mistake, because there is a way of being that is more relaxed, more open, more meaningful than we have. This isn't a mistake, and it's not a sin that we've missed this. In fact, if we look closely, wanting to be free from stress is, as Mingyur Rinpoche says, compassion itself. Wanting to be happy is loving kindness itself. Knowing that something is off, that's wisdom of self, or that is wisdom itself. What's happened? So this points at the sort of the root of the problem of how we got here. That we have a sense that we're lost, that we need something, we're looking for something. And somehow we find ourselves running out into the world and attaching to the sights and the sounds and the situations and circumstances that the world offers us. We go out and we work to get the best job or the right clothing or the right diet or the right friends or whatever. We hold on. If we want something, we just hold on to it so tightly. And if we come across something we don't want, we push it away. And we go and keep going like this. And yet somehow we feel a little bit more confused all the time. And then we know why, because whatever we can find out there is by nature always moving and changing. So we become more and more anxious. What's happened is as they say in the literature, we've become lost on the pathways of existence. And consequently, again, we feel yet more afraid, yet more anxious. It's not working. So, as many of you know, as Mingyur Rinpoche has mentioned, Tolku Ujin always used to say, Mingyur Rinpoche's father always used to say, the problem is that we're homesick. He said, like a bird flies far from his or her home in the morning, but knows how to come back to the nest at night. He said, we have flown far from the nest and have lost our way home. This is the problem. So what we're looking for is we're going out onto the pathways of existence, we say, and we get lost. As Tolku Ujin used to say, the world is beguiling and the mind is fickle. So it gets worse and worse. The more we try, the worse it gets. What's happening is that we're looking outside for what can only be found here. So this is where we're called to try to resolve this situation. And we sit down. We sit down on the cushion and we begin to take stock. And what we learn to do, and Mingyur Rinpoche teaches this so beautifully, is we learn to work with our mind. to work with the knowing quality of mind. This quality of mind that has run out and grabbed on to the world outside, that we train to bring it back again and again and again. This awareness is who we are. Connecting with this awareness is the path itself. Mingyur Rinpoche said, awareness is like a thread that runs through everything we have. It is wide open and accommodating like the sky, immeasurably deep and vast like the ocean, and stable and enduring like a massive mountain. This is our awareness. This is actually who we are. It's always present. It's always available to us. And then the path is, again, becoming familiar with this innate, unchanging, fundamental nature of who we are. This seamless, timeless, unchanging awareness. So this is where Mingyur Rinpoche talks about all the various kinds of shamatha and working with emotion, awareness with breath or physical sensation or emotion, or particularly simply open awareness. Mingyur Rinpoche here talks about non-meditation, because awareness is who we already are. We don't need to do anything. This is literal. This is not some toss-off for Westerners. I remember being in front of Mingyur Rinpoche's father, and he was just sitting, as he always does. He would sleep on a bed, and then in the daytime he would sit up, and he just sat there all the time. And I said, Rinpoche, what are you doing? And he immediately said, can't an old man practice non-meditation? So this is the practice, is to simply allow ourselves to come back again and again, this quality of awareness. On the cushion, we become familiar with it. And then as we go out in the day, we carry all of our experience with a light sense of this knowingness, of this presence, of this awareness. And by doing this over and over again, we learn to come back to ourselves. And as the great poet T.S. Eliot says, and at the end of all our journeys, we return home to know it for the first time. So this is a little bit about awareness.
Thank you, Tim. And I think we can go ahead and go into the first practice. Thank you so much for the intro. So we'll train in awareness, as Tim beautifully introduced it, through becoming aware of the body sensations. So if you want, please find a comfortable position for your body. You don't have to change much. However you're sitting, just allow your spine to be loosely straight. And we'll practice for about 15 minutes. And we can begin by doing a little bit of a body scan. So bringing our awareness to the top of the head. Just being aware. And then continuing through the forehead. Noticing the back of the head. The cheeks and the mouth. And as we're bringing attention and gentle focus to these areas, maybe we can relax these places or these areas a little bit more. And then continuing, becoming aware of the throat, the neck, down to the shoulders. Bringing the attention down through the arms to the hands that are resting perhaps on our thighs or folded in our lap or however they are. And then shifting to the torso, noticing the chest and the belly, and perhaps letting go of any tension that we might be feeling, if that's possible. And then noticing the back, bringing our awareness down from the top of the spine to the bottom, through the hips, the thighs and shins, all the way down to the feet. And as we have connected with the body this way, we can just notice any physical sensations in the body that are currently present. You might become aware of some pleasant feelings, perhaps a sense of groundedness, or some tingling or vibration. But you might also be experiencing something uncomfortable, perhaps some tension or even pain. Or you might be having trouble finding something in particular. Perhaps it feels like there aren't any particular feelings to notice. And that's completely fine too. Just whatever is present in your body, whatever you can be aware of, that you can connect with, is fine. So we're using all of these sensations to connect with awareness, to recognize it. You might be drawn to a particular area of your body where maybe the sensations are strong, and that's fine. You can bring your awareness there, or you can simply just be aware of what you're feeling as it comes up. every so often we get lost, distracted, and then we simply come back. Again, connecting with awareness through the support of what we're feeling in the body. Connecting with who we really are through the feelings in our body. And so all we're doing is that we're simply resting and noticing what we're feeling, noticing the sensations that come up, be they pleasant or unpleasant or neutral. You don't have to try and change our experience or manipulate the feelings. We feel the feelings, we are aware of them, and then we get lost. And then we remember. And then again and again, we come back. Without feeling discouraged. Knowing that every time we remember, we connect with awareness. And then we can let go of the physical sensations, the feelings. And we could just simply be. We don't have to focus on anything, create anything. You can just simply rest in the open presence. Your eyes have been closed, you can gently open them and continue resting. Just be. Okay, thank you so much. We'll take a 5-minute stretch break. If you can, please stay in silence to continue with the practice. If you need to go to the restroom or do something, that maybe you can continue being aware of your body and your physical sensations. And then we'll come back in 5 minutes and Jem will lead the next practice.
Hello, welcome back from the break. And now we're going to practice sound meditation together. So begin with finding your meditation posture. Relaxing and resting your body, speech, and mind. No need to do anything. Just rest and allow everything to be as it is. Now, please listen to sound around you, any sound. You don't need to analyze the sound or judge or think about the sound. Just hear the sound. What kind of sound, it doesn't matter. Even silence can be a support for awareness. Through the sound, through the hearing, we are getting familiar with awareness. That is why we can use silence or any sound, because the sound is not the real important thing. The important thing in the meditation is to recognize awareness. Recognizing awareness means having the view that the sound itself is awareness. One 100% of the sound is your awareness. So when you experience hearing, you also experience awareness. Because the sound is your awareness. That is why any sound can be a support for recognizing awareness. Even silence. Because hearing silence is also awareness. So through the sound, we can get familiar with our awareness. In each moment. And you don't need to do anything with the sound. Just be with the sound. You cannot really grab the sound or grab your awareness. There's no need to try. Instead, you can just rest for a short time, many times, again and again, with the sound. Now, please let go of using the sound as a meditation and let your awareness be open, spacious, and relaxed. Not meditating, not distracted. Just completely natural. Okay, that concludes the session of meditation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jem and Veronica and Tim. And next we'll be taking a 10-minute break. So please take this opportunity to stretch, get a drink or a snack if you need, and we'll see you in 10 minutes, which for most of us should be 10 after the hour, depending on what time zone you're in. But we'll see you in 10 minutes. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Welcome back from the break. We're ready to move to our next section. And in this section, we'll be exploring love and compassion with our Tergar guides, Tim, Jess, and Franca. So I'd like to invite Tim back to introduce the love and compassion section. Hi, Tim.
Hey, Beth. Thank you very much. Welcome back, everybody. So I've been asked to say just a few words about loving kindness and compassion. And again, Mingyur Rinpoche talks about this so beautifully, but I'll just add maybe some different wrinkle to the whole thing. I can remember many years ago when I first, 1980, the early 80s, I was living in Kathmandu. I had gone there to study with Mingyur Rinpoche's father. And I was obsessed with this question of loving kindness and compassion. I knew that there was something in it that was incredibly important for me. And I went from one teacher to the next, asking about it. Why is it such a big deal? How do you do it? How do you develop it? Et cetera, et cetera. So one day I went to see Trangu Rinpoche, the wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Lama Trangu Rinpoche, who recently passed away. He was virtually a next door neighbor. And in those days, there was no telephones or anything, so you couldn't arrange a meeting or a request. So I just walked into his bedroom and I said, Rinpoche, I said, tell me again, what is this big thing about compassion? Why is it so important? And he looked at me, he said, well, he said, if you were sitting in your office and your desk was in front of you and there was papers all over your desk and someone came in and upended the desk and the papers went flying, what would you do? And I said, well, I'd be furious. And he said, well, of course you would. But if your friend came in and you could see that your friend was completely drunk and he fell on the desk and your papers went flying, what would you do? And I said, well, I'd get up to see if my friend was okay. And he said, of course you would. He said, Tim, everybody is drunk on their afflictive emotions. And I said, okay, that I got. I can understand that. And then for years, we would go, to try to get teachings from the great lamas, Tolkujin Rinpoche, Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche, on and on and on. And we would always ask them for teachings on some exotic or esoteric text or something. And they would begin by a long discussion of loving kindness and compassion. They would go on, and we'd think, oh, come on, we've been through this so many times. But over the years, what I've come to realize, and as is taught, loving kindness and compassion is the basis for the path. As we were saying earlier, loving kindness and compassion is the path. And the marker of the path having come to fruition is the presence of loving kindness and compassion. It's everything. Loving kindness and compassion is actually who we are. It's our natural condition. Loving kindness, developing loving kindness and compassion reminds us of who we are. It inspires us. It uplifts us. It carries us along in our life. It connects us with others. It connects us with the world. Loving kindness and compassion is what it means to be human. It completes us. So because it is natural to us, then we naturally discover it along the path. I can remember very well being with Mingyur Rinpoche. It was at in the living room of my good friends and our good friends, Lyle and McQueen, Lyle and Diane and Lyle McQueen Smith in Portland, Oregon. And there was a group of about 25 people. This was 17, 18 years ago. And Mingyur Rinpoche started his famous thing where he said, even our eyes blinking is loving kindness and compassion. When we move in our chair, this is an expression of wanting to be free of discomfort and to find some ease. That's loving kindness and compassion. And I can remember right then thinking, this is it. I've never heard anybody talk about it in this way from this point of view. And I said to Rinpoche, I said, please, whatever, doesn't matter what I said, but I said, please, let's use that as the basis for teaching loving kindness and compassion, because it's incredibly both poetic and beautiful and right to the point. So loving kindness and compassion is innate to us. And at the same time, we train in it. So we're training to sort of train to strengthen the muscle of loving kindness and compassion. But we can only do that because it's who we already are. So the way it goes is that when we come to the cushion again and again and again and apply a method, almost any method, just over time, over the hours and hours that we spend on the cushion, we actually become closer to ourselves. We get to know ourselves in the first person, our direct experience, not as a reflection of something I'm talking to someone else about, but it becomes very intimate. We become friends with ourselves just over time. This is the inner journey of meditation. This really came to life when I read a beautiful quote by the poet Anais Nin. And she said, the value of a personal relationship to things is that it creates intimacy, and intimacy creates understanding, and understanding creates love. This is the meditation journey. That as we come to the cushion again and again, follow the method, whatever it might be, we naturally soften, we naturally relax, we naturally loosen. And in loosening, we open. And as we open, our sense of the world, we just begin to acknowledge the world. We see the world almost as if for the first time. And then I think at that point, and sometimes it feels like a particular moment, I think the most magical thing happens on the path of the entire journey from where we are now all the way to whatever we call enlightenment. There is a moment right there where we open, we look out and we see others, and we realize the most amazing thing. And that is, maybe it's true that I am perfect by nature, but screw it up over and over and over again. If this is true for me, maybe it's true for you. Maybe everybody out there is fundamentally good, but in our execution, we screw it up all the time. I think this is one of the most magical moments of the path, that we begin to see each other in this way. We all want to be happy so badly, but we get in the way of it again and again. We all want to come home to ourselves and yet are wandering endlessly. This is our natural condition. This is what we share. In fact, you could say that this is what it means to really be all in the same boat. We're all the same. This is the meaning in the classic presentation of the development of loving kindness and compassion. We say that there's 3 steps. The first step is this: understanding that we're all in the same boat, that we all want to be happy, we all screw it up, we're all fundamentally good, we're all the same. This is called equalizing. It's on the basis of that, then, that we begin to work with exchange, which is Tanlen. That's the second stage. And then the third stage, classically, is the ability to put others before ourselves. But the most important of these is this equalizing, because when we really develop a sensitivity for others that is like the sensitivity we have for ourselves, then this joins us, this binds us. This is our kinship, you could say. You could say that this shared longing to be free and shared inner goodness, but outer chaos. This is our bridge to the world. And walking this bridge and connecting with others, this is what it means to make this life meaningful. There is a beautiful line in the tradition that comes from the great text Shantideva's Bodhisattva's Way of Life, or the Way of the Bodhisattva, talking about this. That it says, "At this moment, my birth becomes fruitful. I have realized my human life. Today I am born into the family of the Buddhas. Now I am a child of the Buddhas." In other words, of the enlightened beings. And I thought about this for years, and I thought, what does "at this moment" mean? It must mean that I have some great breakthrough in my meditation practice or some realization. And so I went to Mingyur Rinpoche's father, and I said, well, what does this mean, "at this moment"? And he said, "At this moment" just means that you become interested in the possibility of opening your heart, the possibility of benefiting yourselves, benefiting others. At this point, this simple spark, this urge, this desire to wake up and help others wake up, this is what it means to realize my human life. This is what it really means to become a child of the enlightened ones. So these are just a couple of thoughts, and thank you very much. And now,
thank you, Tim.
Yeah.
So that was wonderful introduction. So we'll do a little practice now. So we're going to practice for 15 minutes with loving kindness and compassion for ourselves and a loved one. So you can find your meditation posture and just begin to settle in, feeling your body and noticing any tension and letting it relax. Feeling yourself on the cushion or on your chair. And your eyes can be open or closed, whatever is more comfortable. And as you do this, relaxing, checking in with yourself, that is already an expression of your loving kindness and compassion. This natural movement towards ease, towards well-being. That simple knowing of discomfort and comfort. That impulse to move towards well-being. It's that simple. As Tim mentioned, every eye blink is an expression of wanting to be happy, wanting to be free from suffering. And that tiny suffering of dry eyes. Every breath is looking for happiness and freedom from suffering. And as you begin to settle into your mind and body, noticing what's going on for you, you might notice good feelings, pleasant feelings, and how you naturally enjoy that feeling, want that for yourself. It's kindness. And you might notice discomfort, disease, places where there's maybe physical pain or emotional discomfort. And how there's a natural impulse to want to be free from that. And that's your compassion. for yourself. You can notice that and appreciate it. And even the thought, every thought that you have, am I doing this right? I'm not sure, or this feels good. I want to move away from this. Every thought is looking for happiness, wanting to be free from suffering. So now you can bring to mind someone that you love, that you care about. And whoever comes to mind first, it's perfect. Might be a person, might be an animal. You can use your imagination. So everyone's allowed. Someone living, someone passed away. And whoever you bring to mind, you can imagine that they're sitting here in front of you. Or just imagine that their presence is here in whatever way works for you. And you can reflect on how this being or person also has this natural kindness, this wish to be happy and free from suffering. You can reflect on how they move towards things that bring them joy, ease, well-being. And how they move away from suffering, discomfort, pain. And these are an expression of their loving kindness and compassion, just like you. And as Tim mentioned, you can reflect on how, just like you, this person wants to be happy, wants to be free from suffering. But because of ignorance, afflictive emotions, confusion, they look for it in the wrong places. They act out of habits, create suffering for themselves and others. But their natural state, their innate being, is love and compassion. Recognizing that is like recognizing that your friend is drunk, creating havoc. There's a natural wish to help them. And also a sense of equality. You and this other being are the same. Both have this amazing nature of loving kindness and compassion. So you can form the wish now that this person you care for recognize their innate well-being, recognize their love, their compassion, and experience happiness and freedom from suffering. If you want, you can repeat in your mind, may you have happiness. May you be free from suffering. You can also connect with the feeling of that wish, that intention of wanting well-being for this person. Or you can use your imagination also to imagine that you're sending light from your heart outwards to this being, carrying with it this wish, this intention. May you have happiness. May you be free from suffering. And if you notice any difficulty as you do this in your own mind or heart, that too is an expression of loving kindness and compassion. Wanting to do this right, wanting to be loving. Whatever is happening, that intention is there. It's who you really are. So you can let the imagination go now and just return to awareness. Just let it be. You can drop the meditation practice and just be as you are. If your eyes have been closed, you can open them. And simply rest naturally. So now we'll move into a 5-minute break. And again, during this break, I encourage you to stay in meditation as much as you can. You can stretch, go to the bathroom if you need to, drink some water. But while you do each of these actions, notice how each of those movements is an expression of loving kindness and compassion. Noticing what you need to be well, to restore ease and balance. And so as you're moving, you can keep this in mind. Notice that reaching for the water is loving kindness. Stretching your body. And after we come back, then Franca will continue to guide us in loving kindness and compassion practice. So thank you, and we'll see you in 5 minutes.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I guess I was muted there for a moment. Let me just adjust my computer a little. There we go. Yeah, so welcome back from the stretch break. And I just want to invite you to take a seat if you're standing. And yeah, so Jess's meditation, we know we extended love and compassion to ourselves and a loved one. And so now we're going to be expanding that circle of care that we can offer to people that we don't know. We call them neutral people. And then to people we have difficulties with. So, yeah, so settle into your cushion and just see if your spine is straight. And just begin again by noticing yourself sitting. And just really feeling the support of the cushion or the chair beneath you. And then just notice your feet as well. Maybe they're touching the ground. Or maybe you're sitting cross-legged on the floor. And just let yourself take a few deep breaths. And with each breath, let yourself settle a bit more on the cushion. Especially with that out breath, just give yourself permission to relax and to rest. So now, this meditation will focus on a person we don't know. So we call that a neutral person. And it's someone we don't have a positive or a negative feeling toward. We just don't know them. So I'd like you to bring to mind someone like that. Maybe someone you saw earlier today. Maybe it's a person delivering mail or packages, or someone on the bus or in the store. Just let that person come to mind. And we can get a little curious about them. We can wonder, what might their life be like? Do they have a family? Do they work? Do they have a pet? Do they look content or maybe not? So with this slight awareness, with this slight attentiveness, we're allowing ourselves some connection between ourselves and this stranger. As Tim said, love and compassion connects us with others. So this attentiveness is a form of love, is love and compassion. And then we can think how we have a wish to be happy and how we have a wish not to have hardship, not to suffer. And although we don't know this person, we can imagine this person is just like us. And so we can offer them a phrase, a sentence, and you can change these words so that they work for you. May you have happiness. May you be free from suffering. May you have happiness. May you be free from suffering. And we can just repeat that silently, or again, use the words that work for you. We can feel that our connection with this person grows as we extend this love and compassion. Okay, so now let's let go of that contemplation and let yourself just rest for a moment again. Just present with what is. So now we can challenge ourselves a bit more. And as Tim was saying, strengthen the muscle of our loving kindness and compassion. So we're going to expand our circle of care to someone who we find challenging or annoying. But don't pick anyone too difficult. You choose what's workable for you right here. So then I invite you as you bring this person to mind to notice all the thoughts, the stories that you have about this person. So we're just noticing our thoughts and emotions that arise as we think about this difficult person. You might even notice physical sensations. So we're just seeing all of this stuff we have around them. Now let's let go of that as best as we can. And we're going to contrast that. So we've just seen how different they are from us, the things we don't like about them. But now we're going to see actually what we might have in common with them. So I invite you to see what comes to mind when I even say, what do you have in common with this person? And we know what's true is that they're just like us. They want joy. They want their life to be meaningful. They want well-being, and they don't want to suffer. So then here we can also extend these phrases to them and change the wording again. May you have happiness and be free from suffering. May you have happiness and be free from suffering. Now, you might find some resistance coming up for you as you say this, or as you think this. So then just be with that resistance. You can be with that resistance, and that's just fine. But we can hold a greater intention to hold them with love and compassion. Okay, let's take a brief break. Just let that go. Just a brief, like, let that go. And then we can bring to mind the same person again, or a different person, again, with someone where it's workable for you. And we're going to do something similar, but we're going to use our breath. So as we breathe in, we can just imagine relieving them of their suffering. And as we breathe out, we can imagine sending them love and well-being. Now that might be very advanced for a difficult person, but you know it's an option for you. At one point, it might become an option for you. And breathe in, relieving them of their suffering. You can breathe out love and send them kindness. Again, we might notice some resistance. That's okay. That's our edge. We can just be with that. And then for the last minute here, let's just drop this practice and just let your mind rest. Just allowing yourself to be with any thoughts and feelings that are moving through your mind, or any sensations. And we can end the practice by just sending appreciation to ourselves for having brought to mind this difficult person and having attempted to work with them. Okay, so that concludes our loving kindness and compassion practice.
Thank you so much, Franca. And thank you also to Jess and Tim for leading this section. And now we're going to take another 10-minute break, opportunity for you to get some movement in, maybe get a drink or a bite to eat. And then we'll come back for our section on wisdom meditation. So we'll see you in 10 minutes, about 10 after the hour, depending on what time zone you're in. See you then. Hi, everyone. I hope you had a nice little break. And we're ready to move on to the third section of our special New Year meditation retreat on the topic of wisdom. And we'll be joined in practice with our guides, Vinula and Robin. But as with the other sections, I'd first like to invite Tim to join us and say a few words about this topic.
Great. Thank you, Beth. So now I want to make a couple of comments on the vast topic of wisdom. So wisdom in short form just means that we're curious. We're curious about how we've created this world, how we respond to what we've created. This curiosity is, you could say, the hallmark of a real yogin, a true practitioner. In Tibetan, the word is Nangpa. So Nangpa means, the translation is insider. An insider is not someone who has the inside joke or the inside handshake, but is someone who's interested and curious to sort of keep a finger on the pulse of what is happening inside me, inside my body, inside my mind. What am I creating with my mind? Just the whole process of experiencing our world, to be curious about that. This is what it means to be a true practitioner. The great 19th century meditation master, Jamgon Kongtrul, said something that has really nailed this for me. He said, relying on curious attention in all activities is like having Shakyamuni himself as your constant companion. So from this point of view, what we do as practitioners is that we ask ourselves questions. We talk to ourselves. Is what I experience and what I feel, is it real? In what way is it real? Am I exaggerating it? Am I seeing things accurately? When we create realities and stories about the world, that's when we suffer. This is called ignorance. When we exaggerate something, we contort something, we misunderstand something, we misread something. So this is what it means to be trapped. Trapped by our own patterned perceptions, our own conditioning, our own habitual way of working with the world. This is what it means to be trapped. At the same time, when we begin to look clearly, and we develop clarity of insight and wisdom, and we see things as they truly are, this is what it means to be free. This is wisdom. Wisdom means to align with the nature of reality. If we go out in the morning and assuming things are one way, and we find that they're another way, then we suffer. This is the problem. But if we go out in the world and we understand how the world is, we go out and we go into a world that we understand and that we expect, the suffering goes away. It's as simple as that. So the whole topic of wisdom is quite vast, as everybody knows. There's been centuries of commentary and debate and whatever on wisdom throughout the ages. But for us as practitioners, we can engage this insight or this exploration of wisdom, one, by learning. We learn using inference and concepts and logic. So for instance, in Mingyur Rinpoche's world, we learn about the true nature of things as being impermanent, as being multiple, as being interdependent. When we understand the world in this way, we begin to loosen and open up just by learning. So first we learn. And then we take that learning and we kind of roll it around in our mind. We check it with experience. We go out into the world and, is this the way the world is? Is this true? Is it not true? Is the way I'm seeing it accurate? Am I exaggerating something? Am I leaving something out? This is contemplation, a kind of rolling neurotic dialogue that we have with ourselves. This is what it means to be a practitioner. We're exploring and looking at things that other people don't seem to care about. So first we learn, then we contemplate. We check out that learning. And then through meditation, we allow the whole thing to settle into our system. So in the learning phase and in the contemplation phase, we can always use analogies or examples. This is an incredibly powerful way to learn anything. Something is like something else. So the Buddha used 10 examples. Sometimes there's more, sometimes there's less. But the Buddha used examples to say, oh, wisdom is like this. The nature of reality is like this. So they become little shorthand ways for us to access the truth of things. So the Buddha said, he said, a star, a visual aberration, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew, a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. He said, see all things like this. So this was some suggestions in terms of examples. My favorite, and so for each of us, I think what we can do is find the one that works the best. A lot of people like this idea of dreamlike, that things are dreamlike. They're vivid, they appear, but we can't pin them down. So this works for a lot of people. For me, the analogy that works best is the analogy of a rainbow. We all know that a rainbow, it has to do with the way the light is, the way the moisture is, if there's rain, if there's sunlight, and we're looking from a particular point of view. And this fabulous thing comes up. It's amazing, vivid, and so beautiful. And if we take our little 5-year-old son or nephew or grandson out to see a rainbow, we say, look, sweetheart, oh, it's a rainbow. And they get excited. The rainbow goes away. And the little one starts to cry. And we say, no, sweetheart, this is the nature of rainbows. They come and they go, and they come and they appear if just the right situation comes up. That's the way it is. That's why we love rainbows. And the little one stops crying. This is the way everything is. Everything is more than just metaphorically like a rainbow. Everything is simply the coming together, the fleeting appearance of reality. This is wisdom. So when we begin to move our mind and align our mind with these kinds of things, we relax. We relax, we open up, and we lighten up, frankly. This is the sign that wisdom is beginning to take hold, that we just hold things with just more lightly, more loosely. And then we begin to see a different world. Mingyur Rinpoche so beautifully said, the entire path is a change of perception. Now we begin to see a world that is open, that is spacious and workable. We see a world that is inviting. And the beautiful thing, when we open like this, when our mind opens like this, the image that's used for awakened heart, awakened mind, bodhicitta, is the image of a flower. When the flower, and it has the connotation of blossoming, when the flower blossoms, the entire space is filled immediately with the fragrance of that flower. This is the way it is. When we begin to align ourselves, we begin to open to the nature of truth, then our entire experience is infused with greater kindness, greater warmth. This is why wisdom brings compassion. And again, we look out in the world, and now, rather than a threatening or a difficult world, we see an inviting world that we understand. We walk into a world of friends, people who are just like us, people who are innately perfect, but tragically failed in the execution. This is the way we begin to see our world. Again, the entire path is a change of perception. And what we see now is we see our shared perfection. And this brings to us a profound quality of respect for other people. Respect, regard, care, kindness, even at this point, devotion for other people, for their enlightened aspect. But for the flawed execution, we have compassion. these come together. This is the beginning of what we refer to as pure perception. That an enlightened being sees the world truly as it is without our funky overlays. We see beings as they are in their innate nature. This is pure perception. This is the culmination of the path. This is enlightenment itself, pure perception. And pure perception is the expression or what we experience when we align our mind with wisdom. So thank you. And now, Fanula and Robin.
Thank you, Tim. That was very inspiring. So we're now going to harness our natural curiosity to explore our beliefs and perspectives about a certain situation and see if we can become aware of our habitual way of seeing and begin to loosen our view and see it more as it is. So for this practice, I invite you to think of a mildly challenging situation in your life. It can be a relationship, a work situation, a home situation, something similar. It's best to start with a situation that feels workable, not overwhelming. So hold off on the more difficult situations for now. Let's begin. Sit into your chair or onto your cushion and really allow it to support you. Feel your feet in connection with the ground, or your legs in connection with the floor. Gently check your back is upright. And allow your body to relax as much as is possible right now. And simply rest in open awareness. However you're feeling, whatever is on your mind, just be here, awake and aware, without any particular focus. Now, bring to mind a situation you're mildly irritated or concerned about. Once you've chosen a situation to practice with, see if the memory of it brings up any emotions or thoughts here and now. Simply observe whatever comes up. Whatever you're experiencing is okay. When thinking about the situation now, what stories come up for you? It could be whatever you said to yourself or to others. It could be your reaction. While staying open and curious, try to let the story come and go. You're learning to just be with the story itself, or just be with your reaction. And there's no need to judge your responses. If you notice that part of your mind is judging yourself or somebody else, simply let it be. See the judging mind as it is. Allow it to simply come and go. Whatever your inner voice is saying, allow it. And now let go of the situation. Simply be present, at ease, no special effort. And returning to the situation you had in mind, we're going to shift perspectives and look at it using physical sensation as a support. What do you feel in your body when you think about it? Do you experience any pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral physical sensations? Or do you feel no sensations? However it is, that's fine. Just rest naturally. Remember, from the perspective of wisdom, certain sensations are not better than others. The point is just to see things clearly. As you keep looking at the situation, notice what memories and images come up for you. Bring childlike curiosity to looking at the situation. If you can look at the images, that's great. This is one of the best meditations. And if you can't, that's also great. You're automatically in open awareness. So you can't get it wrong. Just remember the point here is to see your own inner experience clearly. You might notice that thoughts, words, images, sensations, and emotions might seem very solid at first. But when you see them more clearly, you start seeing all the different pieces that make up your experience. The solidity may start to crack and loosen and open up a little. And if you don't experience this, don't worry. Wisdom is always present. It's our innate capacity to see things clearly. And now just rest in open awareness for a few moments. And if you've been keeping your eyes closed, gently open them. You don't have to meditate or keep a focus. Just let everything be as it is. It takes time to get familiar with this practice of looking at situations from different angles. But whatever the situation is, we can always reconnect with our inherent wisdom. Thank you for practicing with me. And now we have a 5-minute stretch break.
Welcome back, everybody. So now we're moving into our final session of the day and continuing with the theme of wisdom. So we'll begin by just taking a moment to settle back into our meditation posture. Sitting in a way where we feel present and alert, yet also relaxed and at ease. Simply allowing the mind to be as it is. No need to change anything. No need to seek any particular type of experience. Just simply present with experience as it is. And perhaps we can bring awareness to the body, how the body feels right now, any sensations that might be present. And just a general sense of mind and body together. Maybe aware of contact with the seat and the weight of the body. Perhaps there's some aches and pains or other sensations that grab your attention. So just being with those sensations as they are. And then maybe noticing how these sensations are not static, how they continually change and shift. And how the relationship to those sensations also changes. Maybe noticing the movements of the breath. Experiencing sensations of the body breathing in and breathing out. And perhaps considering how the body itself is continually changing. With each breath, with each moment. movement of the blood around the body, functioning of different organs. Inhaling, exhaling. This body, which may at first appear to be very solid, static, in fact, constantly changing, in a constant state of flux. So we can take a few slightly deeper breaths. With the out breath, have a sense of letting go and release. Letting go of any physical tension, any mental tension. And at the end of the out breath, perhaps allowing a short pause, just to simply be. Simply present and aware. Being with this present moment experience, just as it is. It's bringing some curiosity to how experience unfolds, how thoughts arise, how feelings, emotions might arise, and how they pass. This mental activity is also continually changing. States of mind, situations, feelings that may seem fixed or solid. When we examine them, then we see that they're in flux. not as solid as they may seem. All the many different aspects of experience. All continually changing, moment by moment. Maybe just being with the natural unfolding of experience. Just being with that sense of continual change. Thoughts, emotions, sensory experiences, all these many different aspects of experience as they continually change and unfold. So the last few moments of the practice. The last few moments of the practice, we can just let go of any particular technique. Let go of any particular focus. And we just simply be, resting the mind in open awareness. Bring this practice to a close, engaging with our surroundings. And I'll hand over to Beth to wrap up.
Thank you so much, Robin and Fionnuala. And we're going to have just a final quick message from Tim about daily practice, and then we'll bring it all together. So Tim, did you want to make a couple comments there?
Thanks, Beth. And thank you, everybody, for taking part. So there's so much to say about daily practice. But just one thought is that practice is practice. This is something we do. This is training. So we talk about taming the mind and training the mind. This is training at the end of the day. Training to see the world as it truly is. Training to relate to oneself in a way that is kind and gentle, and to relate to others in a similar way. This is training. And like any training, it takes time, a lot of time. If we were to go, I am told, if we were to go to the gym and lift weights, we know that it just takes time. We don't need to observe it every day. Similarly with practice. Practice is just training. So we go again and again, and we habituate our mind to its own awareness, to its own loving kindness and compassion. This is training. So I would personally encourage us not to gauge our practice at all. Someone told me recently that someone asked the Dalai Lama, how often should I evaluate my practice? And the Dalai Lama said, oh, I don't know, maybe every 10 years. So this is what Mingyur Rinpoche talks about when he refers to 0% meditation. That what we do have control over, what we can maintain intentionally, is our aspiration that we talked about earlier. This is in our hands. But what happens on the meditation cushion, we have no way of knowing. It goes up, as Mingyur Rinpoche says, and goes down, and it goes up and down. But the whole time, we're getting close to the destination. We don't need to watch that. So this is a little bit about trusting the path, trusting the practice, trusting those who have gone before that say, just do this simple thing, and it will come to pass. So thank you so much for enjoying this today together, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you so much, Tim. And while I'm at it, I'd also like to say thank you to all of our guides today who helped lead our practice: Veronica and Jem, Jess, Franca, Fanula, Robin. You guys really did a wonderful job of leading our practice, and such a wonderful group of people. So thank you for sharing your talent and your time with us. And we would like to also thank our interpreters who helped to make these teachings and practices accessible to so many more people, and to our entire events team and design team and all of the teams that helped to pull together this program. So thank you so much for that. Let's do a dedication at this, our closing dedication at this point, and then I have just a couple more announcements after that, but let's do our dedication first. Do you have a slide for that? Yeah. Did you want to read that, Tim, or should I?
You go ahead, Beth.
Thank you. Okay. By the power of this compassionate practice, may suffering be transformed into peace. May the hearts of all beings be open and their wisdom radiate from within. And we have a couple of announcements we want to do. I want to share a slide. We're looking for some volunteers. So let's start with that. Yeah, so I talked about our interpreters. It's such a wonderful service that all of our language interpreters are able to offer. And if you love languages and connecting people, we need volunteers like you in Tergar. Whether you're a pro or just passionate about helping, everyone is welcome. What's in it for you? Well, you can join an amazing community, boost your language skills, and make an impact. So if you are ready to help, reach out now and we'll get started. Send an email to us at translation@tergar.org, and we'd love to hear from you. And we translate a bunch of different languages because of monthly teaching. So so even though not all languages are offered during retreats, we're interested in all languages. So please let us know if you're interested in helping. And then we have a couple of slides to talk about some programs coming up. And so if you're new to meditation, or even if you have been practicing for some time, but you want to deepen your meditation practice, then the Joy of Living program is a great place to start. These teachings offer a structured and authentic path designed by Mingyur Rinpoche, guiding you from the basics of awareness to profound insight into the nature of reality. Next slide. And under the expert guidance of Mingyur Rinpoche, the joy of living contains 3 levels of teachings and methods to uncover our inherent awareness, compassion, and wisdom. And you see people like Evan who report these meditations have been really beneficial in my ability to express love towards others, even if in small ways. And as I've opened up more, my ability to be happy for others or grateful for others' freedom from suffering is slowly shifting my own worldview. Next slide, please. Along the way, you'll connect with a warm and welcoming international community of fellow meditators. They can provide a sense of belonging and support that can be motivating, especially when beginning a new meditation habit or when maintaining a practice becomes a challenge. An additional unique benefit of being a Joy of Living subscriber is the ability to schedule one-on-one meetings with Tergar guides for expert guidance and to answer your questions. And this year, or actually last year, now it's already 2025, we started the Community Circle live sessions led by our Tergar instructor, Tim Olmsted. And these interactive meetings aim to provide open and relaxed sessions where participants can share their experiences and gain insights from Tim's expert guidance and from one another. Next slide, please. A new feature that was launched late last year is a new design of the Joy of Living online course. And we made numerous optimizations for better learning experience. As you can see here, there are new navigational features and an enhanced mobile experience. Next slide, please. So if you visit the website, you'll see our new design. We're very excited about it. We invite you to visit and start your journey now. And then the last slide in this series. Okay, and finally, our next My Meditation Journey guest is none other than the legendary Jet Li, renowned as a martial artist, actor, and philanthropist. Jet has inspired millions with his remarkable career and profound personal transformation. In this exclusive 60-minute webinar, he will share how the challenges of a demanding life led him to discover the balance, resilience, and peace found in meditation in Buddhism. Don't miss this unique opportunity to learn practical techniques for cultivating harmony of mind and body from one of the most iconic figures of our time. So join us on February 1st by registering at events.tergar.org. And then one final slide, please. And this is just a request from us to help create these kinds of spaces for meditation. I know many of you made a donation at the time that you registered for this program, and we are so grateful for your support. Your generosity helps cultivate awareness, compassion, and wisdom for yourself, for others, and the world. So to support more events like this one, please scan the QR code on your screen or visit tergar.org/donate. So that's the end of the formal part of the program. I would like to invite anyone who's still around to turn your camera on and wave goodbye to everyone. So if we could set it on gallery view. There we go. All right. So thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for joining. And we'll see you at the next program. Thanks again.